All right, before we can mark out this week's levels, let's just look at the battle plan trades last week. These are all published the night before. They're effective for the following 24 hours, basically. So when we opened last Sunday, we had battle plan trade here, 2 number mapped out there that worked out really nice. And this was the battle plan number 1. If we gapped up, come into here, ladder back down through this strong range here and have that short. So that was the trade for Sunday and Monday. Then Monday after the close, I published these battle plans, battle plan trade number 1. And these are not based off priority. They're done on hierarchy. So battle trade 1, 2, and then there's 3, 4, 5 typically. Okay. So we never got up over this for a laddering. But we did get on Tuesday, we were looking for this trade into this region here for price to come down into here. And that's pretty much what happened there. And then ladder back up. Tuesday was absolutely horrible. Not the prettiest, but that's what we were looking for. Then you can see once we finally cleared this strong level here, this was that trade as well. So that worked out nice as well. So let's get rid of that. And then Tuesday, before the market opened, mapped out more trades. First trade that came into effect might have been this one. If you'd have taken that, we talked about it on stream. It was up 3 points or so. It had probably been break even, or if you'd just put a stop loss there, you'd have probably had a 4-point loss on battle plan trade number 1. This is when the government shutdown was happening. You were given extreme warnings to probably not trade this at all. And then when in the morning you got that beautiful trade here and got back up over the strong level here. I know some traders took this long here, and as long as you had an appropriate stop, you could still be long in that trade. And then when we were live on Wednesday morning, we called this long here, getting back up over top. This was in line with battle plan trade number 1 again. And then of course, both of those would have paid very nicely. If you kept a runner, in fact, you're still in that trade going into the close of the weekend. And then Monday night mapped out this short here. Boy, was that a beautiful trade if you took that. You know that we were live. I streamed live. We talked about if we broke that trend line, retested it, there's your short. Right here's where your exits would be. And if you decided to keep a single runner back, so do that. This X represents 5 points under the RTH low, which would have been the exit for either of these trades. I said I would put your stop 5 points under the RTH low. And then what happened on Friday? Well, if you were with us, I did a recap on that. We talked about 2 speculative shorts here, and both of those trades really worked out well. And then this one, my goodness, if you'd have been in that one, just a nice little liquidation there at the end of the day. You would move your stop up once again, 5 points behind the RTH low. Now, we did have this nice liquidation. We closed near the lows. It'll be real interesting to see what happens at the opening. But in either case, depending on which one you were long, you're locking in 33 points or you're locking in 47 points. Not a bad trade. And technically, we still made a higher low and a higher high. You're still on the right side of price action by being long. All right, let's work on the trend lines a little bit. So coming all the way back here to May, anchoring a trend line, I think, against this bottom of this blue candle, and then partnering up with the bottom of that blue candle gives us this daily trend line here that I think is important. And then once we get up into here, let's go to a 30-minute chart. I'm going to drop this down. We've got a significant low here back in September, connecting that significant low to the low here at towards the end of September has this trend line going out this way. And then anchoring another trend line from here to this bottom, looking at that like a parabolic move. Do you see that? So this nice big drop down into here early September, this nice drop down late September, connecting those 2 points gives us that. And then here recently in the last couple weeks, we have this low, we have this low. I think you should draw that as well. and it's impossible to look at the chart and say anything other than we're in a parabolic move to the north, right? So that's how I look at that. Let me move all these trend lines into my trend line folder and get rid of it. Now, one of the things I want to go back and look at is this last move up since June. Looks like 4 down days, bought up. Like 2 down days, bought up. 3 down days, bought up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 down days, bought up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 down days, bought up. 2 down days, bought up. 2 down days, bought up. 3 down days, bought up. So, you know, just to have that information in there, 2 to 5 day down days on your daily chart on ES, looks like that is about all it can do at this time before it's bought up and we run up and make new all-time highs. That's just worthy to remember. And the most beautiful part of that is not being in this down move, it's being in that up move. These up moves far and exceeded any amount of points you would make on the short side by being long on these dips. It is very rare that you have a downward trend line on ES. It happens. This was the tariffs, right? And somewhere in here, Trump said, I would be buying if I were you. And his timing on that was on the money. But there are times where there's laddering down sequences. It's just very rare. ES is an upward moving instrument. Every month, people's retirement portfolio buys. All right, let's drop down into a 30-minute time frame and come out here. And so what a weekly bar here. So we opened up somewhere in here. We closed here. We got this wick up to the high and a wick down to here. That is a pretty darn strong candle. Nice little pullback here at the end of the day. Let's bring up single prints and VPOCs. What would I want to carry forward at this point? Tuesday's POC has not been tested yet, about 67.03. We have a set of single prints here at 67.35.75. No single prints here. A tiny little set of single prints right here if a person really wanted to mark those. But I would mark more of this low here coming into here. This is the important set of single prints in my humble opinion. This is the VPOC that matters. Let's close that up. Now let's bring up our session levels and let's make sure that we've got all of these marked. So this is an RTH all-time high. Of course, it's a weekly high. Do you need to mark that it's a weekly high? Probably not. This POC was taken. This halfback was taken. But we now got to add the halfback for Friday. So let's go ahead and add that halfback for Friday. Here, let me get that lined up. So that halfback there is about the 777. Yes, we can delete this. Yes, we can delete that. Don't need it. Let's close it up. All right, we've got an RTH low setting here at the 54. Let me turn on my magnet tool. 54 on the money, and I'm going to go in and mark that as RTH low. Beautiful. We've got this RTH low. We have this RTH halfback. Not tested at all. This was an old RTH halfback I don't need on my chart anymore. RTH low. Sunday opening. I had that marked out from here. We have definitely tested that in the RTH session. I don't necessarily need that level. Don't need this level. RTH halfback not tested in the RTH session. I am going to carry that forward from last Friday. And we need to mark this overnight low here, this London low. Let's go ahead and mark this as the, I'm sorry, I misspoke. This is the Asia low. And then there is a London low partnering up right there with it, basically at that halfback. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add here London overnight low. There are no levels for us to carry forward on Monday or Tuesday. We have this Asia overnight low. We need to mark this as the weekly low as well. Weekly low as well. Boom, 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 boom. Do we have any two RTH lows really close to each other? We don't. Nice little pullback here. And boy, was that a nice call on the battle plan trade Tuesday night to be long there and added, and we got long again. That was really, really nice. So I think those are the weekly levels to carry forward into next week.